Klay Kubiak is now officially the offensive coordinator for the 49ers. I think this is interesting because Kyle Shanahan said it in a way like this changes nothing. He's essentially been the offensive coordinator for the last couple of years without the title. Okay, but then why are you giving him the title now? He's never given anyone the title of offensive coordinator until year 9 in his tenure. There's been pass game coordinators, run game coordinators, specialists, but no offensive coordinator. Kyle's still going to be calling plays. I have a theory of why this is happening now, but I'll save it. What do you think?
I think it's a lateral move. I also think it's a little bit of kind of getting some heat off of Kyle because of how the offense has been moving for a while. There needs to be somebody else with the name. But what I don't want to do is talk out of both sides of my mouth. One of the biggest things that I have said for a while is we need an offensive coordinator. We need an offensive coordinator. Now, does that mean that did I necessarily say that I don't want Kyle calling plays anymore? No, right? I would be interested to know what are the duties of Coach Kubiak now? What is being taken off of you, Kyle? Like, how is this making your job easier? That's what I would want to know. I understand, like, if you think about it, some of the greatest coaches, they never truly give up play calling duties, right? Like Sean McVay calls plays, Andy Reid calls plays, right? I wouldn't expect Kyle to just give that up. But what is
Andy Reid also has an offensive coordinator, Matt Nagy.
Yes, but now does Kyle. So does Kyle.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I'm willing to give him a shot. I want to see what this is now, how this looks. Will he trust him? You know?
Yeah, let's look back for a second. I mean, let's step back for a second. We got 3 new coordinators on this team. Kind of feels like what the Eagles did after they had their down season following the Super Bowl loss. They got rid of both of their offensive and defensive coordinators, and it seemed like they kind of put Nick Sirianni on notice. Like, dude, you got to fix this right now. Get whoever you want, spare no expense. You tell us, we'll get them, but you got to get this right because you lost Jonathan Gannon, you lost Shane Steichen, and you replaced them with freaking lightweights. So we'll give you a mulligan on both of them, but you got to get this right now. And the implication was if you get this wrong, you're freaking done. So now the Niners, I mean, it worked for the Eagles. They're back in the playoffs. I think to me, that they're turning up the heat on Kyle just a little bit. Like, you need to have an offensive. I think someone sat down with them a couple of weeks ago. I don't know if it was Jed. I don't know if it was Denise or who it was, but I think they said you need all new like this coaching staff is beneath you, dude. You need an offensive coordinator. You need to focus on being a head coach. You can still call the plays, but you need to really clean house in this coaching staff. It needs to be a whole lot better.
You need to revamp. Yeah, the whole methodology needs to be revamped. You have your hands. I mean, quite frankly, I have done this before in businesses that I've ran before, where you have your hands on everything, and as a result, your standard dips because you don't have enough energy to do the job the way you know it needs to be done. And what you're really lacking is trust, and you're lacking infrastructure. And Kyle needs to start building more trust and infrastructure where it's okay if somebody doesn't get a job done. When you're not their friend, it's easier for you to move on from them. All right. So I think that he's kind of ripping the Band-Aid off in the sense of, hey, let's make some hard decisions. I really don't understand why Nick Sorensen is being considered for anything in the organization. That's the only thing that I didn't understand from the small excerpt that I heard from today. But right now, I really am willing to give the Coach Kubiak and Kyle tandem a real go, because he had Mike McDaniel, and things were going very well when Coach McDaniel was here. So Kyle needs help, So I don't expect him to give up play calling duties, but I'm excited about this. I want to see how it works out.
Here's why I'm not as excited as you. I mean, I like the idea of it, but like Kyle said, Clay's been here. He even said, like, Clay's essentially been the offensive coordinator the last couple of years, doing a great job. All right, but it'd been nice if you would have brought in someone additional to help, because it doesn't seem like it was enough this year in particular. Maybe if Christian McCaffrey's there, it's enough.
Well, now you're talking about like somebody who wants some real results. We're working with what we're working with here. Yeah. One thing that Kyle will do is he's always going to opt to get in a retread or somebody that's within the enclave of the Shanahan offense tree. You know what I'm saying? These guys think that they're like a part of the 13 colonies when it comes to this offensive football stuff. So they're always going to pick guys that are attached to the offense. I kind of get that.
I got one follow-up question, then we'll get to our Bet US segment and some super chats. But going back to Sorensen, going back to Wilks, really, you didn't hear it today, but Kyle really made a point of saying, well, it was tough to get the best coordinator for the job last year because they finished the season so late and they finished in February and a lot of the best candidates were taken. Mm-hmm. All right, then why did you fire Steve Wilks? There were a lot of missteps in 2024, but if they had just not fired Steve Wilks, kept him one more year, would they be 6-11?
No, the defense would have definitely been better. There were times during the year where we were kind of like the most vanilla defense in the NFL. There was nothing about our defense that actually tried to disguise coverages, try to help out the defensive backs in any way. There was no ingenuity with our pass rush for like 6 straight weeks. There were no stunts. There was no alignment shifts. There was really no personnel packaging that you saw being put together by the defense. And we were kind of just sitting ducks. I don't think Coach Wilks would have been that tone deaf. We saw a lot of different things that he did earlier in the season to kind of put his mix onto the defense. If anything, Coach Wilks, if they would have gotten used to what we gave as far as a wide 9 perspective is concerned, Coach Wilks has he has an entire career of a different set of defense that would have been able to be implemented for us to show wrinkles along the way. One thing about this defense is that you're going to always kind of be hamstringed because they don't want to change the philosophy. So they're already set. This is my thing. Kyle is saying that, the list was pretty much depleted or bare bones by the time they had gotten out of the Super Bowl. Well, just imagine how shorter the list would have been if they're only willing to get certain guys that can only work with one kind of defense. So it's a shorter list already just by what he's already setting out to do.
Yeah, it just seemed like it was such an unnecessary thing to do. I mean, yeah, you'd like to have a better defensive coordinator than Steve Wilks, but in retrospect, you weren't going to find that guy last year. So firing him was a mistake, and it was probably an emotional one because you lost the Super Bowl and you blamed the wrong person. Maybe you bring him back this year and he's no good and you fire him now and you get Robert Saleh. But that one move, I think, was like the beginning of a domino effect that really hurt the team. But I can't prove it. Let's look at BetUS's betting lines for this weekend. Got some really big games. They're playoff games. The winner keeps playing. The loser is done. That's how the postseason works. Chargers are in the playoffs. Go figure. Jim Harbaugh, good coach, going against DeMeco Ryans. He used to be the de facto head coach here. Who do you like? Chargers -3 or Texans +3?
Chargers. I'm not really a believer. The Texans seem to be falling apart at the wrong part of the season. And you know what playoff football is all about? It's about who's hot now, right? So I'm going to go with Chargers.
Ravens -10.
Ravens.
10. Ravens -10. Can we just look real quick at these two teams' matchups this year? I'm curious because I don't remember, but I feel like the Steelers often do well. Okay, hold on. They played each other week 11, and the Steelers won 18-16.
Steelers won.
And they played each other week 16, and the Steelers beat the crap out of them 34-17. So, yeah, Ravens.
Yep.
Ravens.
Yeah, they know they're going to see him in the playoffs.
9.5 Bills over the Broncos.
Broncos.
Sean
Broncos got a defense. Yeah.
Yeah, they do. Eagles 4.5 over the Packers.
Yeah. Eagles. Yeah, Packers are falling apart.
Bucks -3 over the Commanders.
Yeah, Baker, man. I just don't like Baker. I don't want to play Baker. I wouldn't want to play Baker in the playoffs.
Yeah, rookie on the road. I feel that.
Rookie on the road. I wouldn't want to play with Baker.
Dude, this is interesting. Rams Vikings to pick them. Man, that SoFi is such a bad stadium. It's so not a home field advantage. But anyway,
Matt Stafford
or Sam
Darnold.
Sam Darnold. Yeah, that's a tough one, huh? Okay, you don't have to
not
say no
really.
more.
I'm going to pick the Vikings.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. The Vikings are the better team.
Yeah, but you faked me out with that one.
Yeah, I think Matt Stafford is better than Sam Darnold, but the Vikings are a better team.
Mm. Do you think Brian Flores would be a good match with Kyle, or do you think they're too similar?
Who's too similar?
Brian Flores. I know they can't get Brian Flores, but do you think Brian Flores would be a good match with Kyle Shanahan as his D coordinator?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he would do what. Yeah, I think he would do well. I think he would do well with Kyle until it stopped being. Like, you know what I mean? It's almost like two rattlesnakes, and it's just like, well, they're good as long as just nobody bites one of them.
They're winning.
Yeah, like as soon as somebody realizes they're not alone in there.